So let's say the God of the Bible judged you by the Ten Commandments. Would you be innocent or guilty?
I don't get judged that way.
Christ.
Why is God the standard? Why aren't you the standard? I'm the standard.
Because as I said,
I am the standard, and I said.
Hello guys, welcome back to another video where we are out there on the Burlington waterfront in Vermont, and we are just talking to people about Jesus. And what a perfect day. I mean, I prayed for it to be hot that day, and oh boy, it was hot. It was scorching hot. And we're just coming out with a few new questions, and let's just look at this interview really quickly, and we can learn a few things about how to approach people, but also what kind of things people are talking about. All right, I'll stop yapping. Let's watch the video. So my name's Jamal. What is your name?
Kevin. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Very nice to meet you. Cool skates as well.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so I'm going to put this book in your hand, and you're going to tell me the first word that comes to your head.
Christ.
That's a good word. Why do you think that came to your mind?
It feels like a Bible.
That's good. So do you know what that picture is?
No. Is it a tree of life? I have no
Almost.
idea.
Yeah, it's the burning bush. You've
Okay.
heard of the burning bush? Yeah. So that's when God came in the form of a burning bush, and then Moses asked him, what is your name? You know, I need to tell these people what your name is. What is your name? And God said, my name is I Am, right? And then skip to the New Testament. Jesus, when the Pharisees were confronting him, and they asked him, like, who are you? Why are you saying these things? He says, I am, you know? And that's in that moment, he's either crazy or he's saying that he's God, right? So, you know, what do you think about, do you know anything about the Bible? Like how it got compiled? How did it get compiled?
Well, I would say I probably don't. I know about the Ten Commandments and things, but how the actual Bible came compiled is, I guess, stories throughout the years and just gathered together. I don't know.
Is it okay if I tell you a little bit about it? So like when Jesus lived and then he died and he rose again, within 60 years of that account, all of the Gospels were compiled, finished, written, and most of the teachings of Paul. So it was written on this paper called papyrus, which is very it's not durable, it gets destroyed. So before it was destroyed, over 3,000 copies were made, and this is literally more copies for any historical. There's not a single historical figure, Julius Caesar, Alexander the Great, that has that many manuscripts about them. So I'm gonna give you a little quiz. So,
Oh boy, I'm getting educated. I'm not if I'm ready for a quiz.
this is a quiz. It's about the Titanic. So you know about the Titanic, right?
Never saw the movie, but I am familiar with it.
Yep. So let's say person A said, we saw the front of it, and then the front of it kind of sunk, and then we saw the bottom go down afterwards. Person B said we saw it split apart in half, and then all go down at the same time. And then person C said, we saw kind of it slant like this and then go down. Which one is the right answer?
The right answer. So, what is right?
Or how do you know what happened? Let's say you're a detective, you're trying to figure out what happened and you're gaining evidence. How would you know which one is the correct one?
I guess the evidence would tell. It's tough. You know, everybody has their own belief and their own truth, right?
So
I don't know. Educate me.
yeah, well, that's true. So, but we know the Titanic sunk. It's definitely a historical fact. But the fact that there's different perspectives actually strengthens that fact, because it's like one person could have been looking at the front, so they saw the front part break. One could have looked from the middle and they saw it break in half. The other person looked from behind and they saw it. So it's just like the Gospels. We have Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and they all tell the accounts of Jesus from their perspective.
Interesting.
And these were within 60 years of Jesus'
Do you
life.
gravitate towards one yourself?
I like the Gospel of John purely because it's just so loving. You get to know the love of Christ in John. It was since I got saved, because I was not always a believer. John was the first book that I read, and it really spoke out to me. So yeah, I'd encourage you to read John.
Cool.
But all of them are great. So do you consider yourself a good person?
Yes.
How many lies have you told in your life?
How many what?
How many lies?
I try to live truthfully all the time now.
But you have told some.
I don't know the last lie I've told anybody, other than, sometimes you lie to yourself about things, right? I found my spirituality in a different way and was reborn in my way a few years ago. And it enlightened me in a great deal about myself and people.
But you have everyone's lied, right? Yeah, so everyone's lied. Have you ever
I
stopped?
don't like to pry on sins. I grew up Irish Catholic. So the basis that I learned as a child, and then what I learned myself as I became an adult, gives me my perspective today, and this is helping me.
Yes. That's good.
So I open myself up to learn all the time. I love it.
May I ask what that is? What you learned like a few years ago? Like your perspective now?
So do you really want to know this?
Yeah.
I went somewhere somebody gave me a gift, somebody that I've worked for years, and it was basically and I didn't believe in this, or I wasn't, but it was a spiritual camp, kind of, for a week. No contact with anyone but the people that were there. And really what I learned was what my patterns are and what I adopted or rebelled against my parents. Because quite frankly, I believe that a lot of the things that your parents they have patterns, and you have to understand where they were coming from and what life were they living at that time. It's made me an incredibly better parent. I know that, and husband and friend, and it changed my life for real. And it's about being grateful, really.
Yes. So I'm not gonna run through all of the
Sorry, I don't want to get off you.
No, it's okay. I'm not gonna run through all of the 10
I'm gonna
Commandments.
split in a sec too.
The point I was trying to make to get to the gospel is that we've all sinned. I've sinned. My wife has
100%.
sinned. Every single human being on this earth has sinned, according to God. Okay, so God's standard. According to our standard, we could do whatever we want. We could do whatever we want to do and we can justify our own righteousness. Because
You can trick yourself if that's what you choose to do.
yeah, but we all have a conscience that's given to us by God. So let's say the God of the Bible judged you by the 10 Commandments. Would you be innocent or guilty?
I don't get judged that way. For real.
Well,
For real, I've done those things, and maybe some of them have made me better who I am today.
well,
And if I didn't experience them, or others around me didn't experience those, it's not about purity and obeying and sinning. It's about gratitude and learning and accepting and loving. Mostly it's love. Learning how to accept love with no...
well, let's say, okay, let's use an example.
I have to tell you, I am not... I don't stay on one religion. I pull from all of them, and I pull from people like you, and you've already taught me something, like I said, for real.
So let's say Hitler says,
Hitler.
yes, Hitler.
Don't care what he says.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So he is a completely
I don't
different
allow
opinion.
that
So
in me.
So that's what I'm saying, is that everyone has their own self-righteousness. You
You're
see what I mean?
100%.
But let's say I
You
want
could save a lot of people here, my man.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Exactly. So what I'm trying to say is the God of the Bible, he's not partial. He's not going to let things go because this person believes in that, this person believes in that. He has a standard. He is the only standard, and he can keep it himself. And the gospel message is that even though we are sinners, and even though we do lie and steal and do all the rest, Christ...
Why is God the standard? Why aren't you the standard? I'm the standard.
Because as I said,
I am the standard, and I said it.
well, I'll explain it, because we're bad people. Okay, let's say...
I gotta go, man. Seriously,
I
appreciate
all
it.
right,
I hope
take
you
care.
got some stuff.
Have a good day. Ah man, see, that's just the thing about doing street ministry. Sometimes you really don't know where they're gonna go after they've met you. But I really hope that we've caused him to question his morality just a little bit. You know, us as humans, we have a tendency to be self righteous, to think that we can justify our own morality and our own actions. But when we really think about it, and when we put it down to ourselves, it's all subjective. And aren't we lucky? And aren't we blessed to have such an amazing and loving God who is also just and who is not partial and has his standard that is so high that we could not meet? And we need to know that we have the disease of sin. If we don't know that we have the disease, we will not start to seek the cure. So I just really want to pray for this man, that he will seek the cure, that he will acknowledge the sin in his life and seek after what Jesus Christ has done for us on the cross so that we can have everlasting life. So guys, see us back on the streets again, and let's continue to explore our unknown years.